Seeing a theme of problems in family and government around the world, and that is the basic concept of change from the outside in versus the inside out. And many people can't seem to wrap their minds around this. It's like they're spinning their wheels, trying the same thing again and again, forcing change from the outside, and it backfires. The president in Taiwan, the current president who Skyped Trump to congratulate him after the election, that president, she ran on a campaign of trying to help workers' rights. They wouldn't have to work 7 days a week. The boss would have to pay them, kind of fair money. She passed laws trying to make those changes, and it ended up backfiring. The companies got more money. And she can't figure out why, and the people are angry. And for me, it's a big duh. It's like, of course that was going to happen. Problems can't be solved by making a law that says this problem has to be solved. There's more to it than that. And this seems to be a secret that voters, especially the new voters who voted in the Obama years and the Trump years, there's several waves of new voters, they don't seem to get that there's more to changing stuff through law than just making a law that says it has to change. It better. You have to craft the law so that it will create change from the inside out. And this goes for family, business, of course, government. By trying to force the change from the outside, the problem just kind of wiggles away. A more appropriate approach would be to allow small companies to start up and grow and provide protections for them from hostile takeovers from bigger companies, and to allow employees to express what they want to their employers without being afraid of the employer firing them. Things like union strikes, or clearly expressing a problem to the boss, maybe in writing. Say, I would like this, please. Not missing work, not going on strike, but clearly explaining your desires. Allowing, maybe the labor office of the government to receive, memo from a worker. A worker is unhappy with his boss. He can send a letter to his boss and to the labor department. And if there's any evidence of the boss punishing him for that, then the government could investigate him for foul play or something. Laws to that effect, protecting the little guy, whether he's an employee, or protecting smaller companies, that's the way to bring change from the inside out. But instead, the approach was, employers have to give employees days off. Well, if they could do that, they already would have. And there's this idea among a lot of the people that are new to politics. Before, it was, listening to music and smoking something and maybe watching sports. And then now all of a sudden they're experts on politics. This newcomer to politics crowd who just got interested in politics at maybe 18 years old, they weren't interested since they were 9 like I was. This newcomer crowd, they really seem to think that the reason big companies or even medium small companies don't do good things is because they don't want to. They can, but they just don't want to. So we're going to tell them they have to. There's more to leadership in government and family and friends and business than that. You have to make a way, protect the little guy as they fight. Hurting employees is just dumb. So the answer is start your own company. And then don't hurt the employees. And guess who all the people are going to want to work for? And then you just put the big company out of business. And now you're the new rich guy and you're a good guy. That's the answer. But the way to make that happen is to provide very subtle, very little protections for those little guys while they're fighting the war. Because when you start your own little tiny company, that big company is going to try to attack you. You need protection. That's the kind of law that you want to have passed in order to get problems with big money and corruption leadership solved. Now, that idea about protecting the little guy, and we're not talking about letting the little guy mug the big guy. We're not talking about going to the little guy saying, hey, here's a big stick and you can just go beat and bloody the big guy and get back at him and have what one of my friends calls a Pyrrhic victory, a Pyrrhic pyros, a fire victory, or your king of the ashes, because that's all that's left after you destroy everything. You don't want that. Giving the little guy a stick to go beat the big guy doesn't help. In fact, the little guy doesn't get anything. Helping the little guy mug the big guy and steal his money, basically kind of a mean-sounding version of communism. Communism sounds a lot nicer than that, but mugging the big guy, that all that does is give power to the big stick. If government comes along and gives a big stick to the little guy and says, here, go mug the big guy, the little guy doesn't get money. The government does. That's just propaganda to convince the little guy to do their work for him. So mugging the big guy, helping the little guy to mug the big guy, that doesn't help either. We have to give the little guy a chance to fight for his own, to fight for his own life, his own liberty, his own happiness, his own pursuits, protection. But he's going to have to fight and work. You just provide some protections, some, maybe an opportunity to go on record. I'm busy doing this. A large company called me and wanted to buy my company. Well, go register that with the government. And then if the big company ends up buying your company later, by frivolous lawsuits, well, there was a record of that big company trying to attack you. Stopping a hostile takeover like that. That could be, those types of protections are a way to help. Now, this idea of providing protection so that the little guy has the right to fight, to earn his own way and grow stronger and get smarter in that learning process of fighting and doing it on his own. That idea, please don't stop the video. Please don't stop the video when I say this. That idea is only all 100%, no more, no less, exactly, only, truly what conservatism is. Truly. Please, thank you for not stopping the video when I said that. Now, Republican politicians are not necessarily conservatives. And, we know that there are people that vote Republican and Democrat that are really good people. This idea about the little guy, though, that's all that conservatism is, and that is one of the best kept secrets on CNN and CNBC or, things like that, news, pop culture. If you're watching, network television shows, they never talk about how conservatism is really about just protecting the little guy's right to fight. Not helping the little guy mug and beat up the big guy, but protecting the little guy's right to fight for his own stuff. That's why the Pilgrims came to America. They got stuck in the North on Plymouth Rock and started slave-free colonies while the British were creating slave colonies in the South. That's why the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock, was the right to fight for their own, and that created the northern states, which eventually ended slavery, the Pilgrims, by landing on Plymouth Rock. That idea, they just wanted to fight. They wanted to fight the elements, they wanted to fight the snow and the cold, and they wanted to fight the ocean, and they wanted to just be left alone to do the fight for their lives so they could raise their kids, so they could read and write, which wasn't happening in Europe. The Pilgrims were the first society where everyone could read and write. The right to fight, that's conservative, which conservative means like you don't change, like you stick to your roots. And those are our roots, the Pilgrims, the right to fight. And that's what conservative means. It means we keep to our roots, and those are the roots. We don't guarantee people getting certain results. We protect people's freedom to chase after and fight for those results. That's all real conservatism really is. Now you get conservatives and then they have another culture on top of that, but that's different from real true conservatism. And when I talk to my Democrat friends, I'm typically Republican. When I talk to my Democrat friends, I hear a lot of conservative ideas. I see YouTubers who are new to politics, and they're saying, well, I don't like this, and I'm a liberal when it comes to money, but we need to be able to be protected to do our own work. And I'm like, dude, that's what conservatism really is. And a lot of people don't know this. Now, for the record, I really think that a lot of Republicans, like big money Republican Party guys, they just want to get rid of regulation. Generally, that's kind of what get rid of the regulation, and then kind of let the big companies take everything over. Don't protect the little guy. Democrats, I think, I'm not one, so I have to preface it. What I see with Democrat politicians, not the people, is I see a lot of, let's help the little guy get a big stick and mug and take it from the big guy. Or let's try to force the big guy to do what's right, like Taiwan's president did. And I really think that that's what Bernie Sanders was going to do. He was going to do what Taiwan's president did. He was going to try to pass a bunch of laws to tell the companies they've got to do it, but then they're just going to wiggle away. And then it would backfire. And Bernie Sanders had good ideas, but the problem that myself and other conservatives have with Bernie Sanders wasn't what he wanted to do. It was how he was going to do it. It was going to be outside force from the outside in. And a lot of political debate isn't about what we want. It's about how to do it. Protect the little guy. Protect the little guy. That's how to have change from the inside out. Even in family. If you've got kids, protect their right to talk back to you. If you're a teacher, protect your students' rights to talk back to you. Make sure you hold yourself in check and you allow whoever the little guy is, if it's a little company, don't make it illegal to do this and illegal to do that so that effectively you've made it illegal to be small. Don't have such high standards in education that it's illegal to be a beginner. Like, it's not written, it's illegal to be a beginner, but like this is illegal and that's illegal and this is you have to, a minimum requirement to do this, which basically comes out to it's illegal to be a beginner. Protect the beginners, protect the little guys, protect young people, protect small people and things, individuals, companies, homes, families, organizations, even governments, small towns. Protection for the little guy, that's the way to have change from the inside out, because everything starts small. And ultimately, if we can get back to this idea, then we'll have a country where the people will be able to work. The people will be able to make things work. But we have to understand that it's the method of from the inside out that we need. And it's mostly the methods that people disagree with in politics, not the goals. We want the same goals. And that idea of protecting the little guy's right to fight, that's the root of the country, which is the definition of conservative. Stick to the roots. Conservative means don't change so much. I kind of don't want to change. I'm conservative. Well, that's what conservative means. Well, our country is a country that protects the little guy's right to fight for what he is looking for, whatever, religion, business, work, government. And that's what the Pilgrims did. And that's the definition of conservative. Don't be afraid of that. These ideas about supporting big money or trying to beat people with the big stick, that's big Democrat, big Republican fighting back and forth. That's not conservatism. Think about it.